Sean O'Malley responds to Merab Dvalishvili's offer of a title shot to Petr Yan following UFC Macau. Petr came out victorious against Deiveson Figueiredo in the main event on Saturday. After the fight, he wasted no time calling for a rematch with Merab Dvalishvili. Dvalishvili quickly responded on social media, suggesting they run it back in March. Former champ Petr Yan could leapfrog Umar Nurmagomedov for the next title shot if his rematch with Merab comes together. This would be a surprising turn, as Umar seemed next in line after his dominant win over Corey Sandhagen at UFC Abu Dhabi earlier this year. However, tensions have been high between Merab and Umar, with the two trading jabs on social media. Umar has repeatedly accused Dvalishvili of avoiding a fight, and his frustration only grew after Merab proposed a rematch with Petr. Sean O'Malley weighed in, suggesting that Dvalishvili's decision to sidestep Umar in favor of Yan is a calculated move. In a recent episode of the Timbo Sugar Show podcast, Sean said Umar wants to fight Merab in January. Merab is absolutely shitting himself terrified of Umar. He doesn't want to fight Umar. Now he wants to fight Petr. He wants to fight me. Petr got 50-45'd by Merab. O'Malley's coach, Tim Welch, appeared to share the same perspective. Think of how exciting and lit the division would be if Merab wasn't a part of it, Welch said. That's no disrespect. The guy is really good at getting in those positions and getting through the fight, but man, it would be lit. Leon Edwards wants to become UFC champion again. Leon is aiming for a strong comeback in 2025 after his title reign was decisively ended by Belal Muhammad this past July. Rocky had previously defended his belt against top contenders like Kamaru Usman and Colby Covington, faced Muhammad in a rematch headlining UFC 304. In a dominant performance, Belal outclassed Edwards over 5 rounds to capture the welterweight crown, achieving his long-awaited championship dream. For Edwards, the loss marked the end of his impressive 13-fight unbeaten streak and his first defeat since falling to Usman in 2015. The setback has understandably been tough for the Jamaica-born Brit, but as the year winds down, Rocky is determined to make a strong statement in 2025. Quote, "My goal right now is to obviously get the belt back," Leon told MyProtein. "I'd love to be champion again by the end of the year, next year, around this time next year. Just putting steps in place. I haven't lost a fight now in like 9 years, so I was getting used to that feeling again. I think I hate losing more than I love winning." Edwards continued, "My goal is to be a 2-time world champion." For now, Leon will likely be keeping a close eye on pivotal matchups in the welterweight division. At UFC 310 on December 7th, Shavkat Rakhmonov will face off against the fellow undefeated rising star Ian Gary in a highly anticipated showdown. Just a week later, Joaquin Buckley will aim to continue his surge up the welterweight rankings in Tampa, where he's set to face former interim champ Colby Covington. Colby, despite recent struggles, remains determined to secure a 4th shot at the undisputed title. In a recent podcast appearance on Adam Zuba's podcast, UFC middleweight star Khamzat Chimaev was asked about a potential appearance on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he went off. Khamzat revealed that all journalists, including Rogan, are the same. They all ask same questions over and over, and worst of all, they try to drag fighters into politics. Quote, "I mean, if he invites me, I don't think it would be interesting for me to go there. What would I talk about with him? The podcast makes absolutely no sense to me. I think I have already answered all possible questions about my fights and my career. I have said what needed to be said. If I went there, I would just be repeating the same things I have already said. Every one of these journalists are the same. They're asking same questions, nothing new. 99% they're asking same things. Sports aside, what am I going to talk to him about outside the sport? I am an athlete. These journalists try to drag these fighters into politics. I am not interested to sit there in front of a camera and talk." Khamzat was also asked about a potential fight with the champion, Dricus du Plessis. The reporter questioned him, "Do you think DDP will be your toughest fight to date?" Khamzat responded, "We'll have to see. I can't say that before we get locked in the cage. I haven't had any fight offers yet. So far, Gilbert Burns and Kamaru Usman have given me my toughest fights. I had fever before the Usman fight, but I still fought and won." Khamzat talked about Robert Whittaker's jaw injury. Quote, "I felt Robert's jaw crack a couple of times when I sunk in the choke. I mean, what can I say? I feel bad for him, you know? He's a good dude. I tried to find him and shake his hand after the fight, but the doctors had taken him away." Jon Jones's coach explains why he's confident Bones would beat Tom Aspinall. Brandon Gibson, Jones's coach, is fully confident that his fighter would defeat Tom Aspinall if the two ever met in the octagon. Following Jones's victory over Stipe at UFC 309 to defend his heavyweight title, there was widespread speculation about a potential showdown with Aspinall. The matchup would be a huge spectacle and one that many would find difficult to predict. However, Gibson believes Jones's intelligence and experience would be the deciding factor, confidently stating that Bones would outsmart Aspinall and secure the win. Aspinall's a great interim champ, Gibson said on Inside Fighting. He's had a great heavyweight career so far. I think there's still a lot of unknowns, which could be a benefit to Tom, but also a lot of those unknowns could be a big benefit to us, like how is he going to do in deep water? How is he going to do in later rounds? There'll probably be a lot of pressure on him to try to start fast. So with all that said, we have respect for all of these great opponents and champions, but I think Jon has solved a lot more complex problems, and I think just Jon's mixed martial arts game, his IQ, his pace, his strength would all land in our favor, and Jon victorious once again, Gibson added. Coach wasn't surprised Jon Jones didn't retire after UFC 309. Heading into fight week, there was speculation that Jones might retire. However, after his victory over Stipe, Jones didn't announce his retirement and instead left the door open for future fights. This decision didn't come as a surprise to Brandon Gibson. Quote, "I don't think the moment in the octagon with a career like Jon's is the moment to decide that. A lot of predicated on how the fight with Stipe is going to go. Thank God we didn't have any injuries. He'll always be a martial artist as well." Jon Jones predicts Jamahal Hill to beat Jiri Prochazka at UFC 311. For Hill, his upcoming fight against Jiri is crucial. The former UFC light heavyweight champion is determined to prove that he still belongs at the top of the division after suffering a one-sided defeat to Alex Pereira in the main event of UFC 300. However, with the light heavyweight division as stacked as it is, Hill knows that reclaiming his spot will be no easy task. Recently, the heavyweight champ Jon Jones shared his thoughts about Hill's fight against Prochazka. "I think Jamahal Hill will win. Jiri has really unorthodox striking, but Jamahal seems like the more technical, more clean striker. I'm a big fan of basic techniques, and Jamahal has a really strong, basic, clean kickboxing style." For Jiri Prochazka, this fight is also about avoiding another significant loss in the light heavyweight division. Both he and Jamahal Hill are fully aware of the high stakes, understanding what's on the line and what they could gain by delivering a spectacular finish. While it will be difficult for Jiri to secure his third title shot against Alex Pereira in the near future, after getting brutally knocked out twice, there's no doubt that Jamahal Hill could very well earn his title shot by defeating Jiri. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for daily MMA news.